We're kicking off today with CM Punk, who was a part of this week's Raw from Glasgow, Scotland, where things took an ugly turn after the show. In a post-show dark match, Punk formed a dream team with Cody Rhodes and Rey Mysterio to defeat the Judgment Day's Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Carlito. As Punk attempted to take a selfie with fans, one female fan crossed the line and began grabbing him and rubbing his shoulders, leaving the best in the world uncomfortable. Punk tried to take a selfie again, but the woman didn't let up and continued to try and touch his back, and Punk immediately warned the woman not to do that. In footage, Punk can be seen chastising the fan and told her if she tried to cross the line again, "I'm going to punch you in the face." Punk isn't the only WWE name to deal with this fan, as Cody Rhodes was also taking pics with fans, and the fan in question tried to grab his arms and then the back of his neck. Rhodes had to duck to avoid the fans grabbing, making it clear he was very uncomfortable, and this was an unfortunate end to what had otherwise been a great time in Glasgow. After the match, Punk and Rhodes had both spoken about how great the fans had been, but it's important to respect personal space, something this fan chose not to do after Raw. Incidents like these should remind fans that wrestlers are human beings and deserve personal space and respect, and we hope that this is the last time this fan tries anything like this. This week's Raw saw John Cena vow to retire as WWE Champion and marked his second promo in this heel run after last week's verbal beatdown in Brussels, Belgium. In the European city, Cena held nothing back as that small child in the crowd found out, but this was an emotional night for the 16-time WWE World Champion. Upon closer inspection, Cena can be seen crying during his promo in Brussels, likely overcome by the emotional weight of his dramatic character transformation. It's been reported that this heel turn was first pitched to Cody Rhodes, who said no, and it's possible that this turn is affecting John on a personal level after decades as the top babyface. Given that Cena holds the record for the most Make-A-Wish wishes granted, fans are seeing a very different side to the WWE icon, one that is chastising young fans instead of meeting them. This turn may be eating Cena up inside, but it is proving to be compelling viewing, and John and his heel work were how WWE opened up both last week's Raw as well as this week's show. With John's warning this week, fans can't count out the idea of Cena retiring as a heel, even if the idea of hating the fans John obviously cares for deeply is proving difficult for the GOAT. More from Raw as El Grande Americano made his quote-unquote debut on the show by getting a victory over Dragon Lee, unmasking the WWE Speed Champion in the process. Before the match, though, WWE shared a video package which claimed El Grande Americano is a legendary luchador who is beloved by fans. The truth is the exact opposite, as on Sportskeeda Wrestle Binge, Bill Apter explained how the response from fans in Mexico has been very angry. He said, "The lucha community in Mexico is PO'd. I spoke to two people. If you really think that making what they called a mockery of true luchadors, that's like a religion in Mexico. It's not a funny thing, it's like a religion. It's like mocking their religion." This is just one source of controversy, as the use of AI-generated art in the video package has angered many, while also using the term Gulf of America has also sparked a debate online. Is WWE's new character going too far, or is all fair in the effort to get this heel character to be booed? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. In 2022, WWE, led at the time by Vince McMahon, opted not to renew Saraya's contract, bringing her 11 years under contract with the promotion to an end. Though Triple H tried to re-sign Saraya after McMahon's 2022 exit, she would join AEW that same year, but hasn't appeared for Tony Khan's company since October 2024. This week, Saraya took to Twitter and shared the message, "Tear the stars out from the sky," which fans will recognize as from her WWE theme song during her days as Paige. This has fueled speculation among fans of a WWE return, and on the Hall of Fame podcast, Saraya made clear she loves WWE and doesn't have any ill will towards the company. Saraya said how the idea of leaving for somewhere else was only because of the potential of my brother being there, as she wants him to succeed in wrestling. The brother in question, Zack Knight, did join AEW but left the company in early 2025 after his deal with the promotion expired and a new deal wasn't signed. On the podcast, Saraya added that she would absolutely be open to returning to WWE, saying that if there's an opportunity to do something fun, she'd be silly not to go back. In September 2024, Fightful Select reported that Saraya had signed a one-year contract extension with AEW, meaning a return may not be immediate, but could happen in 2025. Saraya parted WWE and joined AEW with the hope of her brother getting an opportunity, but now that he's no longer All Elite, it may just be a matter of time before Saraya follows suit. But what do you think? Are you itching to see Paige return? If so, who should her first opponent be as a WWE superstar once more? Share your thoughts down below. Speaking of AEW, Mariah May is at the top of the proverbial mountain as a former AEW Women's World Champion, but her time with the company may be coming to an end. According to Fightful Select, several people in AEW, including staff, wrestlers, and higher-ups, believe that May is in the final year of her deal, and it's unclear if option years are attached. One AEW source was surprised that May has such a short deal, noting it was odd for AEW to only sign her for the short term, given the push she's received. The report adds that AEW is looking to retain May's services, though one has to suspect other promotions, including WWE, are keeping their eyes on the glamour. What do you think Mariah May should do next? Should AEW do everything they can to keep her? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Over to WWE NXT now, as the first match of the show saw Stephanie Vaquer put her NXT Women's title on the line against Jada Parker. While Parker dominated early on and was in control for about 80% of the contest, Vaquer got some hope spots in as she battled to keep the title she'd won at Roadblock. The NXT Women's division was spotted watching the match, but Jordynne Grace was seen leaving the backstage area mid-match, and she would come out to the ring. The Juggernaut distracted Jada, allowing Vaquer to capitalize with the roll-up and retain, and fans can now expect a fully fledged feud between Parker and Grace moving forward. It was during last week's show that Parker attacked Grace when Jordynne laid her out to claim a title shot, and now the Juggernaut of NXT has returned the favor. After the match, Fatal Influence attacked Vaquer with a 3-on-1 assault, giving Fallon Henley the advantage in their Women's North American title match for later in the show. WWE had a video promo making a big deal about how no champion in NXT had successfully defended 2 titles on the same night, adding more shine to Stephanie Vaquer. That match would headline this week's NXT, and despite the numbers being in the favor of Fatal Influence, Vaquer was able to overcome and retain the North American title. Just like earlier in the show, Vaquer was attacked by Fatal Influence after the match, but Jordynne Grace was on hand to make the save for the double champion. With that said, Grace made her claim for the NXT Women's Championship in the ring, but she isn't the only one wanting a title opportunity. In the locker room, the women's division all argued about who deserves a title opportunity, and Ava said she'd deal with it, perhaps setting up a battle royal or another form of qualifier. And with Parker and Grace going at it, fans can expect a match between them, perhaps in the run-up to Stand and Deliver, before Grace battles the champion at the PLE. Ricky Saints had a backstage interview with Vic Joseph in which he spoke about joining the wrestling business and the various struggles he's put himself under to chase his dream. Confidence and positive thinking got Saints through these tough times to make him a successful star, but the interview was then interrupted by Shawn Spears. Spears, accompanied by the Culling, spoke about having known Saints for a very long time, a nod to the fact that both men had previously been in AEW. He added, though, that Saints has a problem of making enemies wherever he goes, and said he's still the same Ricky Saints that Spears left a year ago, another nod to AEW. Saints wants the NXT North American title, and Spears said that if that doesn't work out, Saints can always go back, but cut himself off before he said AEW's name. Spears mused that Saints can't go back, adding that he's burnt the bridges in what wasn't just a nod to AEW, but Saints' difficult exit from the promotion after close to a year of going unused. It's a bold move for WWE to lean so heavily into Saints' AEW background, and having these references to his exit is certainly an effective way to have fans talking about him. Most fans will already know about Saints' issues with AEW, and after this segment, Wesley was seen with his crew and clearly disapproved of Saints being part of the NXT brand. Do you like the idea of Saints' AEW past being brought up, or should WWE be focused on establishing Saints away from his All Elite past? Let us know your thoughts down below. There were issues within Axiom once again, as Nathan Frazer was unhappy with Axiom having a match with Gunther during the recent SmackDown in Axiom's native Spain. Frazer was unhappy that he hadn't been told about the match and said that if he had been told and was with Axiom at SmackDown, he might not have lost to the ring general. Axiom appears displeased at his tag team partner's lack of faith in him, but it was during this segment that NXT champion Femi was seen making his way to the arena. Femi's arrival coincided with Javon Evans taking on Lexis King for King's Heritage Cup, which came after a heated backstage segment between the young OG and Trick Williams. Williams said that Evans didn't understand championships, and with that in mind, Javon was eager to prove the two-time NXT champion wrong by defeating King. Before that could happen, though, Femi came out and attacked Evans, causing Javon to lose via countout as King retained his Heritage Cup. Darkstate then emerged in the crowd as Javon and Oba brawled in the ring, and when Trick Williams came out, he accidentally hit the trick shot on Evans, not the NXT champion. Williams' expression certainly suggested this was an accident, and Darkstate would seemingly celebrate what was happening as Femi and Williams argued in the ring. Officials rushed in to separate the two, and it was odd on paper for Darkstate to celebrate what was happening, with some fans speculating that there could be a fifth member to the faction. While some have predicted Trick, others believe Javon will be revealed as the group's leader, especially given that the group has said that nobody has been listening to them. Similarly, Evans' story is that people aren't listening to him, with Williams making it clear he doesn't believe that Javon is on the level yet to be in the NXT title picture. Do you think Javon Evans is the leader of Darkstate, or does the group have other intentions in mind? Let us know your thoughts on this segment down in the comments. Tony D'Angelo called a family meeting in which he demanded as much information as possible on Darkstate before letting everyone except Stax go on their way. The Don asked Stax if he could trust him, and while Stax said he could, the look on D'Angelo's face made it clear he's not ready to trust his second-in-command. The group continues to be a hit whenever they're on screen, and if the faction isn't split as some believe, then WWE could easily do much more with the group on YouTube or social media. Over to TNA Wrestling now, as the company underwent major changes in 2024, which has continued into 2025, and now some notable names are no longer with the company. According to Fightful Select, TNA Wrestling is no longer working with Gail Kim, Ariel Schnurner, Rob Kligman, and Michael Schwachenko, with their exits shared via an internal email. Kim is perhaps the most notable exit, as the TNA Hall of Famer has played a massive role both in the ring as part of the Knockouts division, as well as a behind-the-scenes producer. Ariel Schnurner had been involved with various operations, while Klingman played a major role in marketing and business development for the company. Michael Schwachenko had helped shape internal strategies, and these exits come after Anthony Ciccone left the position as TNA president earlier this year. Ciccone replaced Scott D'Amore in that role, and longtime TNA figures Josh Matthews and Christy Hemme have also left TNA after lengthy tenures. In an update, John Alba reports that TNA talent have been shocked by the exits of Kim and Schnurner, with the belief being that the decision came from higher-ups in TNA and Anthem. One top TNA talent described Gail Kim's departure as a major loss, especially for the women's division, and this is a sentiment many in TNA have echoed. It's believed that her exit will have the biggest impact on TNA moving forward, and we'll just have to see what the future looks like for TNA after these latest changes to its staff. Are you disappointed by these changes? Where do you see TNA Wrestling going from here after these departures? Share your thoughts and feedback down in the comments section. Back in September, Ilja Dragunov suffered an ACL injury during a match with Gunther that has kept the former NXT and NXT UK champion on the shelf ever since. Speaking on the post-Raw show, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful was asked about the Mad Dragon and said that WWE felt that Dragunov was ahead of schedule with his recovery. With that said, Sapp added that stuff like this can often be touch and go, meaning that it's still unclear when fans can expect to see him in the ring next. What we do know is that Dragunov has been training in the Performance Center, and as of January, he was not seen wearing any support gear for his injury. When Dragunov got hurt, it was feared he'd need 6 to 9 months to recover, but with him making strides in his recovery, he could be back sooner than later. Dragunov received quite the push after being moved to Raw, and working with Gunther again was a big opportunity, and time will tell what's in store when he eventually returns to TV. How should WWE book Ilja Dragunov when he's ready to wrestle again? Share your thoughts and opinions on the superstar down in the comments section. Back to NXT, as Hank and Tank received advice from the Motor City Machine Guns ahead of their tag team match with Tyson Dupont and Tyriek Igwe. In a startling move for a man his size, Hank sailed through the middle ropes with a dive to the outside, with Corey Graves saying it must be like being hit by a sofa. This was a fun tag match, but ended in heartbreak for the babyfaces, as it was Tyson and Tyriek who got the victory over the popular tag team. Gigi Dolin and Tatum Paxley defeated Metaphor's Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, earning Gigi and Tatum momentum ahead of their match on this week's TNA Impact. There was a slight botch in the match, as Dolin slipped slightly when on the top rope, but was able to recover and hit a dive onto both of her opponents. It was odd that Shotzi was not with Paxley and Dolin as usual, raising questions about whether she's sticking with NXT as previously expected, or if a return to the main roster is coming. As for Dolin and Paxley, they'll take on Ash and Heather by Elegance, the TNA Knockouts champions, this week, and will a win for the NXT duo earn them a shot at the TNA Gold? Time will tell. Andre Chase was accompanied by Cal Dixon and Uriah Connors for his match, and while the pair want to bring back Chase U, Andre is yet to be fully convinced. That said, Andre did defend the pair when they were confronted by Ethan Page backstage, but in the ring, it was Paige who'd get the win over Andre Chase. Ricky Saints had been on commentary and was attacked by Shawn Spears after the match, and fans can expect a showdown for the North American title in due time. And that was this week's NXT, and what did you make of the show? Did it do well to build hype towards Stand and Deliver? Let us know below